All right, thank you, Robert. Members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, friends, family, supporters, it's a pleasure to be here. Well, this is the 19th of December. It's just about a month and a half since our launch, and I just feel a certain rhythm, like as Bob Marley said, it's good to see when you're moving to rhythm. And I think we've picked up a certain momentum that you can feel it in the air. You can sense it when you look at our social media platforms, and this is a positive thing, and especially as it comes before our festive season. Unfortunately, we live at a time when our country is going through a nightmare in terms of the security or lack of security in our country, and the carnage that we see almost daily on our road, which seems to be peaking as we speak. I'll start by touching on the monies that were allocated in the previous budgets from 2014 to 2019. It started at $135 billion, and then it increased by 83% to $300 billion. Now, it increased from, as I said, 230 billion to 300 billion, and that's a 170 billion increase, equivalent to 83%. But where has the money gone? Have we seen a reduction in crime? Have we seen a more secure and confident population? We're at a point where Guyanese, especially our young women, have gotten so scared that they leave their smartphones at home, and if they have one, they use their, as we call it, non-smartphone or mango pelters, because of fear of being robbed and attacked. But that shows you this does not happen with any level of, it's almost incomparable, at least in the Caribbean, where people have to leave their smartphones at home, and almost on a daily basis about 20 or more smartphones are taken away. Violence in our schools has gotten so bad that the Ministry of Education, I think on December 4th, had to announce that Christmas parties are canceled. Now, many of us have lived here over 50 years. We have many young people here, 20 years, but I'm sure they've all attended their Christmas parties, and something they look forward to. But because of the culture that has deteriorated, because of the lack of planning, the poor security systems, the administration that is so bureaucratic that you don't have systems in place to ensure that there's safety in schools, we have to cancel our school parties. The Stabroek Market area has become a haven for crime. We have crooks and robbers, not from the administrations I'm saying, but in the Stabroek Market, who virtually live there and pounce on innocent Guyanese. And only recently we were being told that they'll try to move the minibuses out of the Stabroek Market area. But that was an area that you could have traversed late into the night and be very safe, probably 30 years ago. But now it's a very, very dangerous area. So we have an insecurity and crime epidemic in Guyana. And what that has done at a psychological, physiological, and political level is take away our self-confidence that is permeated at various levels, where even interacting with, let's say, people that coming from abroad is almost as if you have a kind of inferiority complex. You're constantly worrying about the safety of your children or your family and your friends. So over time, over successive administrations, this confidence, which is a key part, what confidence leads to is courage. And just a quick span on, which is one of the major virtues with wisdom and justice and self-temperance. But when you lack courage, which to me is the key virtue, it is difficult for us to enjoy this economic advancement and development that we seek and that we have been seeking so for such a long period, 50 plus years. I wouldn't go into the numbers, but we all know that we are at a lower tier in the Caribbean and South America. So now in terms of insecurity and crime, there are certain categories the police refer to as serious crime. And as recent as September 2019, they identified murder, robbery using firearms, robbery using arms other than firearms, robbery with violence, larceny from persons, etc. And they claim that in all these categories, the statistics show that crime is falling. But that's absolutely not the perception. And in my mind, it's not the reality even. It's just a claim that what you're seeing in the media almost every day, what you're hearing, what you're seeing on social media, shows that crime is exploding in Guyana. And, you know, it's as if we cannot trust the persons who are reporting on these statistics. So we have a problem on our hands that has to be resolved. And this is where Change Guyana will put forward some measures that we think will address security in a meaningful way. Now, we did an article about, I think 2 weeks ago, we talked about our economic development policy in Linden. And there was some criticism in the media saying we took ideas from the PNC and the PPP. The reality is, for them, it was just an idea, just a promise. It was broken. So a good idea is a common property, especially one that is not implemented. You know, we're not trying to invent electricity or the internet. What we're trying to do is the basic obligations of a government to serve their people. That's what that's our motto and that's our intention. So when we talk about attracting investors in the bauxite industry or building a wood processing factory, though it has been said before, it has never been done, at least over the last 9 years. And in this regard, the commitments we are making with regards to security in Guyana is to have the following measures put in place. High standards for recruitment and hiring of police officers. Continuous training of police officers. Extensive use of security cameras and closed-circuit televisions. Community policemen on a strategic basis. And I'd like to just come back here when I speak of community policing on a strategic basis. There's a study done by Gary Sutkin, a medical expert, and he deals with incidents of disease control and illnesses and other factors. And trust me, what we have in Guyana as a crime epidemic is really a kind of a disease that's spreading. It's almost contagious. Because you see how it happens in these bunches and splurges or streaks where over the past probably 3 weeks we have over 25 deaths on the road, or back in between October, I think 22nd to November 4th, we had I think it was 16 murders that occurred. So one of the things that he advocated is that we must target particular areas. It's as if you have certain areas that a lot of these crimes occur in, and we should target them with the kind of security policies that will reduce the occurrence of the crime. We obviously need to increase the salaries and benefits for our policemen. We need to retain trust in our police officers. a lot of times we stop by the police, and I think the last thought in anybody's mind is that the police is trying to serve us. Invariably, we feel that, you know, this is some kind of attempt for them to get a benefit from you as a driver or as a pedestrian or in whatever capacity. It's not one where you're stopped and you're given some advice, or, you know, to slow down or to drive in a more responsible manner. It's always they're coming at you in a manner that seems to be hostile. And this is where the training comes in that we badly need for our police officers. And this is similar to what Mr. Gates mentioned about the need for training and the low standards that are in place to get into certain, whether it's a tactical service unit, the special branches, or some of the high-level security areas. And even at the basic level, the traffic cop, the beat police, you know, we need to see more of those, and we need to have standards, certain certain educational and literary standards that will enable us to have the type of policemen and policewomen that can raise the level of safety for Guyanese people. Then there's the overall improvement in our justice system, with special emphasis on legal representation for the poor. Because we have a justice system where the poor are quickly placed in jail. They don't have lawyers to represent them. They can't afford the monies that are needed for representation, and it's very unfortunate. So we obviously have to reform the justice system so it can have provisions to deal with the impoverished and the persons who are less fortunate and who are more inclined to get into crime, to have representations, and then we can have remedial programs, training programs, and job opportunities for these persons who in some sense have been disadvantaged by the system.